AM category with a 1:33.598, and Nygaard goes through and sneaks it away from him by 0.013 of a second. Top three in AM separated by 0.031 of a second on the 4-lap averages.
Richie Stanaway on pit road now, John.
So are they going to park that car with 5 minutes left to go? Stanaway has done, or that car has done more than its 4 laps. It's done its 4 laps that count, and a 33.340 is the average for that car. And it looks like Stanaway is getting out of that, and that car's about to be parked, Joseph.
It certainly is. I'm right on it, John. Stanaway stepped out of the car. The crew told him that he stepped away with his seat insert, and he was told to put the seat insert back. Now, I don't think that's an indication that he's going to be getting back in the car, because the car looks, it's now got no activity around it at all. It's just standing alone on the pit apron. Stanaway goes to the back of the garage and takes off his helmet.
Stuart Hall about to come into the pitch and join you as well. Might have grab a quick word with Richie. He has got the fastest lap in the session at the moment with a 32.9.
Yeah, we'll try and grab a word with him, see how his session went. Obviously did very well. There's all smiley faces down here, as you would imagine. The young man,
Pedro Lamy,
yeah, very good. Yeah, you've got the TV there.
Yeah, Pedro Lamy's talking to him.
Discussion, yeah. All very happy with things so far. So we just have to sit back and see if the Porsches are going to nip in and steal it from them.
Yeah, where is the best of the Porsches? Still to see any of the Porsches, either of the 2 Porsches in the Pro category. In fact, any of the Porsches. The AMs haven't done too good either, but they
probably get a word with Richie now.
Let's have a word.
Richie, well done. Fastest lap of the session. I know there's still a bit to go, but tell us a little bit about how that went for you.
Yeah, it went okay. I didn't quite get the perfect lap together, so just watching the timing screens now and interested to see if anyone will beat the time. But obviously the qualifying result is determined by the average anyway, so we'll wait and see the result of that. But yeah, the car feels good, so Aston Martin have obviously done a great job with the car, and we've been tuning it throughout all the free practice sessions, and yeah, I think we've got it to a really good level for that lap, and obviously I think it will be a good race car as well, so looking forward to the race tomorrow.
And you yourself, Richie, good to be back. I know you had a big layoff last year. I know you did, because you were on iRacing all the time with us. And but it's obviously you're in pretty good shape now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm doing also the Porsche Super Cup this year. So since I did my last WEC race with Aston Martin, I've had a bit more experience, because the first race with them was my first GT race. So it's been a very steep learning curve for me this year, and just pushing as hard as I can to try and improve myself in every areas. And the best thing about being a part of this team is, I'm used to having just one teammate, but the luxury of being part of this team is that we have, probably about 10 drivers who are all extremely good. So it's good environment for me to be in, and yeah, really enjoying it.
Good show, mate. I'll leave you to watch the end of the session. 2 minutes, coming up to 2 minutes, and Richie's still at the top of the GTE Pro field, John.
And in second place now is Ricard Leitz in the 92 Porsche. One of those 10 teammates has just spun out, and that was Rob Bell in the 99 Aston. So that's not going to better his 33.6 and 7 that he's got to his name at the moment. 34.2 from Senna is the time that is letting that car down at the moment. So Rob's going to have to find a bit of time. He's sitting down in 5th position at the moment. Also surprised that Jörg Bergmeister hasn't found any more time, and Rob Bell may have flat spotted the Michelins and has come into the pits, I think. Joe, has he?
Yes, Johnny has. He's just as you mentioned him, he was already on pit road, already brought the car to a halt.
Massive slide by the 92 of Ricard Leitz, the Porsche. Tail out. These new 991s are a bit longer than the 997s that they replace, and a fabulous fast hands catch by Ricard Leitz. Not sure he's going to be able to improve his time. He's 0.134 of a second away from provisional pole. Matt Griffin's stolen back the provisional pole in the AM category for the AF Corsa 61 car. He's got 0.008 of a second between himself and the Aston number 95. Then Rui Aguas and the Aston 95 and Rui Aguas in the 81 are in the pit lane. Rui a massive 0.039 seconds away. So the top three in GT AM 0.039 of a second apart. And Leeds continues for another lap. Doesn't improve that time, as you might imagine. Mark Leib is watching the timing screens with the rest of the team. A 44.2. 33.8, sorry, for the Ricard Leeds Porsche last time around after a lurid slide. Is he staying in it for another lap on those Michelin tyres? Last 8 seconds, he might as well have a go. Still out there as well, the 51 of Jimmy Bruni. They haven't got... Oh, so something's gone wrong with the 51 car because they haven't had their second driver in that car. We don't have a driver 2 time for Jimmy Bruni's Ferrari, so that's something we need to chase up.
I think it's just burst into the scene, John, in 5th.
Ah, right, just catching up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I knew Fisichella had got in the car because we put him in there. So the 51 car pops up to 5th position. Checkered flag is out. We're waiting for the Porsche of Ricard Leeds to come around. In fact, here he comes now. 0.121 of a second behind. So he did actually make a little bit of a better fist of it last time around. Even with the slide. Timing screen just taking a moment to update on the 3rd sector. That's what caught me out last time. And here comes the 51 AF Corsa Porsche. Right. There's Leeds' time. He doesn't improve. He stays second. It's going to be Richie who's on pole position.
We can grab a word with him, John, as the pole sitter. We spoke to him earlier. Richie, just grab a word with you. Now I can say, well done, mate. You're on pole position. Must be a great feeling.
Yeah, definitely. It's my first pole position in GT, so yeah, obviously very happy. So yeah, a huge thanks to the team, and let's hope for a good race tomorrow.
Do you find the format of qualifying in WEC a little bit tricky? There's quite a bit of pressure on both drivers to deliver.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, with it being the average over 2 laps, it requires a decent amount of consistency, and also, you know, the 2 drivers need to be fairly close in order to get the good overall result. But you know, obviously Pedro and I managed to do that today, so yeah, look forward to starting the race from pole tomorrow.
Well done, mate. Well done once again, Richie Stanaway. Great drive by not just Richie, though. Let's not forget Pedro Lamy,
yes,
the other driver in that car, who of course assisted and contributed a lot to the average.
I've got to say that I do like this because it's more than one car, more than one driver that is, you know, drives the car in the race. So having 2 drivers qualify effectively, I really do quite like that. Matt Griffin is on pole for the GTE AM with Marco Ciocci doing the early work there. Here's Louise with Pedro.
Pedro, you're just celebrating with the team there. Great performance from both of you.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Richie did great laps. I mean, I started very early in qualify. Maybe the track was a bit more dirty, but keep a good rhythm. And Ricky did a great job, and we're on pole. It's great for us.
Well done.
And the pole sitting team getting their photographs taken at the moment. Matt Griffin is and Marco Ciocci, the 2 drivers on pole. Porsche in 2nd and 7th for Bergmeister. And Bergmeister and Pile. Wow, that's a big gap. So Aston from Porsche, 98 from 92, from 97 Aston, Darren Turner, Stefan Mucker. And in the AM category, 61, 95 and 81, the 8-star car hanging on to 3rd place as far as the amateur, or the cars with at least one amateur driver is concerned. So that is half of the qualifying done and done. We'll see if we can grab a word with the AF Corsa 61 cars. Prototypes will be up next. A lot of people sliding around out there on those qualifying laps. Joe Bradley down in the powered by Nissan pit lane.
I just spotted him lurking at the back of the pit, getting a well-earned drink of water. Well done, Matt, on pole position for the class. Tricky though, that session, you know, trying to be consistent.
No. Yet I'm never consistent in qualifying. I was completely on the ragged edge. Obviously, Marco went first on the new tyres, so it's.
Mark,
sometimes it's hard when you go in. The tyres just lost the edge, and but I went in. I was really happy after practice this morning because the quickest time we did was me on old tyres as well. So we knew that we had some pace in the car, particularly after yesterday where we were struggling, but found out why. So I just absolutely gave it up, everything, and I said, okay, you're in P2, you just need to find a little bit, and I think the little bit included a little bit of grass and a little bit of dust in places, but I was absolutely on the ragged edge, no more.
Well, clearly not too much dust and grass, Matt, because you put it there, mate. Well done, good team effort all round. It is, you know, absolutely.
I think we're strong for the race, honestly. Marco is absolutely rock solid like always, and Jack has been doing an amazing job this weekend. Honestly, we worked really well as a team because after FP2 yesterday, on the board we were second last. So we were able to identify where we were struggling, why we were struggling. Fourth in the free practice 3 and then pole position today, so in qualifying. So really happy. My first World Endurance Championship pole.
Congrats, Matt, congrats.
Matt Griffin there on provisional pole, scrutineering still to come, of course, but with the fastest average, 34.577, 0.008 of a second ahead of the Aston Martin number 95, Marco Ciocci doing his bit as well. That's your first experience, Joseph, of the average of qualifying. It's not the instant gratification of who's got the fastest lap, but interestingly, the two fastest laps were posted by the two cars that were on pole position in the respective parts of the GTE category.
I like it. I wasn't sure how I was going to find that session, but it kind of builds the tension because it's not just, you know, you could effectively have a car go out there, do a lap, and that would be the session over and nothing else to wait for. But the format that we've got, the tension builds, and the more laps that are made, then. And like you said, it's not consecutive laps, so you could stay out there and increase your average.
Correct.
Bearing in mind what we found out yesterday, some of the drivers alluded to the fact that you didn't want to take too much out of the tyres. The tyres have to be used in the first stint of the race, so you don't want to let your qualifying session be to the detriment of that. So it's a bit of a balancing act. But no, I certainly like that. I enjoyed it. It was right to the very end when we thought. It could go anywhere, and certainly there I was a little bit disappointed in the Porsches not being as competitive as I thought they would be.
Well, no, particularly the 91 car down in
absolutely.
7th position.
Yes, and we'll no doubt grab a word with them tomorrow in the build-up. Right now though, John, we've got the big guys, the big punchers are out. Toyota at the head of the queue at pit out, and right behind the Toyota is the number 1 Audi, so getting in line to commence battle.
Well, Anthony Davidson stands just composing himself in the Toyota number 8 pit lane, just the one Toyota.
2 minutes to start LMP qualifying. 2 minutes to start LMP qualifying.
Eduardo Freitas gives us the countdown. Anthony Davidson waits. We don't, I think, have all of the drivers yet in their cars. Although the Audi drivers are being bolted in. I can see Lotterer and Christensen from the two on-board shots, and I'm telling a lie, it's Loic Duval who's just got into the number 2 car as the door is opened on the left-hand side. So this is going to be it's going to be an interesting session. As I say, unfortunately we don't have the running average screen that we had for the GTs on this, so what I can't give you is the individual times for the drivers that I gave you last time around. For some reason that screen isn't on our timing array. The temperature in the air is 27.8. It is 30 degrees Celsius on the Michelin track temperature. We wait for another 30 seconds to get the qualifying session for round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship underway for the prototype cars, P1s and P2s, out together. So that will be 13 cars out on this 4-kilometre long circuit. The humidity, a very pleasant 27 degrees at the moment. By no means as bad as it has been earlier part of the week. The two Lotus sit on pit lane, but the Rebellion is in line. And that noise will tell you that the cars are moving out onto the track, and it is the Toyota number 8 that is out first, which has got Sebastian Buemi at the wheel. And it's followed out, having just had its tyres checked, by Marcel Fessler in the number 1 Audi. On board with Sebastian Buemi as he weaves right and left to get temps up in the Michelin tyres. Thank you for all your comments on Twitter, by the way. You'll appreciate, with so much going on, it's not easy to get through everything. Thanks for all the kind comments of those of you who are listening and perhaps watching on FIAWEC.com. Full coverage of the race there as well tomorrow if you're in Europe. English language commentary is us as well on the Motors TV broadcasts. Sky Channel 447 now for Motors TV. And of course will be the soundtrack on FIAWEC.com too, as we've got cars on the circuit, and already the Toyota goes across the line. That was a very quick outlap by the number 8 car of Buemi, but Marcel Fessler is on a tear behind him in the number 1 car. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, the head of Audi Sport, with his short-sleeved Audi shirt on, just watching, listening to what's going on the radios. So just waiting for the first set of times to come in. We're told that one of our feeds is about to change over to the prototype times in just a moment. Remember, it's not about who is the outright fastest, but it's 2 drivers, their fastest 2 laps. So we're looking for 4 quick laps from 2 different drivers, 2 each from 2 different drivers. And then those 4 laps are averaged, and that is the time that sets the grid. Fessler has gone through in a 21.444. That's damned quick. It might be the fastest lap we've had all week. I think it is. Joe Bradley?
He certainly made ground on that lap, John. They went out, the Toyota went out first, and then followed by the number 1 Audi. And when they came over the line to start their lap, the gap was definitely different. The gap had closed between the Toyota and the Audi, so the Audi was certainly quicker on its first flyer.
Just have to wait a moment for this to play out, of course. And the tactic is always interesting, I think, about how long you leave your first guy out. If he thinks he can do a slightly better lap on a 3rd lap, you have got time here, 25 minutes. Joe?
You couldn't possibly listen to your driver on that one, John. They would always tell you they can go a little bit quicker.
Just one more, boss.
One more. I know I can get a little bit more. I've got another couple of tenths in me.
So Buemi and Fessler, oh, big lock up there, going into the centre S's by the car in front of the Audi, which I think was the Lotus. No, it was the Toyota locking up there as Tom Christensen is ready to go out. And my speculation that it would be Duval and Christensen who qualified the two seems to be borne out because TK is sitting with his helmet on. So 2, 8 and 1 running together on the track, and if anything the number 1 car is getting a little bit close to the back of Buemi's Toyota, and it may be suffering. Well, I say that absolutely not, because he's just put the fastest first sector in, has Fessler. Fessler 1:21.444 and 1 minute 20.784. Just going to turn Joe's mic off in the pits for a moment because it's getting very loud down there. We'll get back to him when things start to get interesting. And if there might be a chance to have a word with one or two of the outgoing drivers. It's been a very good run by Fessler. And Fessler is going for another lap, is he? No. Oh, but he's coming across the pit lane line. No, he's gone through. Wow, I honestly didn't know what he was going to do there. As into the pit lane comes Buemi. So he is sticking on his 121 flat last time around for an average of 121.5 for Buemi. But Fessler's going for a third lap here. Duval has got a 21 flat and a 21 flat. They'll be making. They made a few more adjustments to the Toyota than I thought they might. Joe, what's going on down there in the number 8 garage?
Just fuel, John. So obviously the Buemi run was optimised with just the right amount of fuel. Maybe he didn't have enough to do a third lap. Maybe it was that optimised. But before Anthony is just now being strapped into the car, it has taken on another. I wouldn't say a tank of fuel. No doubt about it. A few more litres of fuel for Anthony's run. Remains to be seen just what they think they can get out of this car and how many laps, because they will want to optimise the running of the car, so he may not, if he thinks he can go quicker, he might not be able to.
Buemi's individual lap times 21.3 and 21.6, but they've, as I say, they've stuck on that.
Waiting for track space as well. They're getting the cue. The car is static. They've taken their cue from the pit wall, so they're looking at that track map that shows us on the on one of our screens where every car is positioned on the circuit, and that's certainly why that number 8 Toyota was being held, just waiting for a nice gap for him to slot into. Number 1 Audi on pit road.
Number 2 Audi on pit road as well. So Fessler and Duval have been brought in. Tom Christensen, very calm and collected, gets into the number 2 car. Third lap improved, 1 minute 20.868 in the number 1 car. So his average for Fessler a 20.8 and a 20.7. That's going to take a bit of beating, I would have thought. 120.826, his 2-lap average. And believe it or not, I'm getting that in text form from Paul Trustwell, who's sitting in Surrey, typing that through. So thank you, Paul. Means I can actually watch the screen and see if anybody falls off. The number 12 Rebellion Lola with Nick Heidfeld on board. And if you're watching the timing screens at home and wondering why none of the prototypes have bounced to the top yet, it's because they haven't completed their 4 laps. If you were only to complete 3 laps, then you'd be behind all the 4-lap average runners, and then the time average for your 3 laps would be what ranked you with all the other 3-lap average runners. If you only did 2 laps, then same thing, you'd be behind everybody who did 3, and your time for your 2 laps would rank you. Hope that's clear for everybody. Hello to Steve Kilvington at SnapperKilv, who's listening back in the UK. Don't forget Motorist Sky Channel 447 for you, Steve, or FIAWEC.com, wherever you are around the world. Make sure that you keep in touch with this race tomorrow for the full 6 hours sound and vision of Radio Le Mans and pictures together on the FIAWEC website, timing and scoring there as well. So waiting for more times to come in, as the second drivers are now all in the cars. That's Trellier, Christensen and Anthony Davidson, the first man into the car. Martin Pass, Audi PR guru, standing. He'll be needing a coffee about now. Standing watching the timing screens. Oak Racing 35 going through to complete a lap, as Anthony Davison clicks up the first 3-lap average for a prototype, and that's a 21.5. He's done a 21.557 as his opening lap. Trellier took on more fuel than the other two, I'm told. I think it's marvellous that by the wonders of Alkemal timing, Paul Truswell in Surrey can tell me that. James Walker out on the circuit at the moment in the Delta ADR, had a little issue this morning. No, sorry, it wasn't. It was Mike Conway. It wasn't in the G drive that had the issue. Told it's the Sepang 12 hours this weekend. Or, sorry, is it clashing with a WEC race later in the season? Perhaps. I think it's a bit early for that race. Maybe wrong. There's just a little cessation of hostilities, isn't there? While everybody gets back up to speed.
It's quite tense, really.
It is, isn't it? You sort of take a breath and you're waiting. It's almost like the break between rounds, or the quiet before dawn, before everybody goes over the top in the trenches and all the firing starts again.
It's probably like the feeling at Le Mans when your car was out back and you're just waiting for it to appear at the Ford chicane before we had all this media and timing screens and the like. Just waiting for the cars to appear to see who was doing what. But I'm down here in the Audi pit, and the tension you could cut like a cake. It's quite intense.
That's an interesting analogy. Davidson a 1:21.5 and a 1:26.7, so he has gone to the top of the timing screen. If you're watching along on FIAWEC.com, the number 8 car is now showing with a 22.8 average, because he's done 4 laps. Don't forget, if you're tweeting at FIAWEC or hashtag FIAWEC, if you want to get to the studio, at Radio Le Mans or at Specutainment. Anthony Davison stays out for another lap, as the eyes of Sebastian Buemi are glued through his helmet. What I don't know is, Joe, and I must ask Eduardo Freitas or one of the teams, there's 12.5 minutes left. Could they bring Anthony Davidson in now and put Buemi back in the car to see if he could do better than what he did earlier? And I don't know the answer to that question, because normally we don't have this much time left.
Well, if it's as straightforward as you've got to have 2 drivers complete a minimum of 2 laps, of which you then take the average of their fastest 2, then I can't see how that wouldn't be.
In fact, I've been told by Paul Truswell that is the case, as we've got a spun Audi, and the yellow flags come out at the centre S's for the number 2 car of Tom Christensen, who had just gone to the top of the pile with a 4-lap average of 1:21.3, so almost 0.2 of a second, and he lost that very early at the apex of the left-hander of the centre S's. Now he got off the brakes very quick. Oh, bit of carbon fibre pinged off the front of the car, and Mike Duval looks on, chewing his drinks bottle. Hasn't shown any real emotion there, though. And Christensen is straight back on it again. That lap's blown, of course, but will he get a chance to make a better fist of it? It's the 2 Audis now, 2 from 1, 1:21.3 and 1:21.5. Davidson 1:21.6, I think.
It's pretty close.
Yes.
That's not bad at all, is it?
In the P2 category, still waiting for the first car to do its first 4-lap average, and off has gone the 31 Lotus. And that is Kevin Weeder, and he's gone off at the centre S's. He did exactly the same as Tom Christensen, but he managed to get further down the road before he hit anything. Tom didn't. Oh no, hang on a second, that's a bit odd. What's happened there? I think he may have had an incident somewhere else, and I would suggest perhaps a left-hand side puncture somewhere, because he didn't seem to be able to.
We have sector 1 under the yellow flag. We have sector 1 under the yellow flag.
Actually, I'm talking complete nonsense, because I've now seen the left-hand side of the car and he's fine.
31 is
I think he just lost it, mate.
rejoining. Car 31 is slowly rejoining.
Eduardo Freitas there. So what happened there then? He seemed to have caught that and then just speared off left. Yellow flags are removed. The number 2 car comes into the pits. Christensen stays in the car. No sense in pounding around there with yellow flags out, of course. Can't improve. There are 9.5 minutes left. Kevin Weeder is going slowly on the circuit, but does appear to have pressure in all 4 of the tyres. Staying out of the way as his teammate comes by. Thomas Holzer, the best of the 3-lap averages at the moment in that Lotus, the Praga-sponsored car. Audi number 2 with the blowers that you can probably hear on the brake discs. Anthony Davison's in the pit lane as well, in 3rd position, 2/10 away.
They've got plenty of time to put a new set of boots on this car.
I can't put a new set of
they
boots
can't.
on.
No, of course. These are the tyres that they're going to do the first stint.
Correct. But you could change drivers. There's a splash of fuel, I think, going into the 8 car. Meantime, more problems at the centre S's, and an innocuous looking set of corners, but it's the 88 car. Oh, sorry, hang on, that's a replay. Killing time. Thought that looked vaguely similar. I'm getting another chance to have a look at TK's turn around. He definitely took. He's Weeder. Yeah, he's got that straightened up, and then all of a sudden, the car just wanders off to the left and makes very gentle contact with the left-hand side wall. It's very odd. P2 then, we've got some 4-lap averages now. The 49 Pecom car, Pierre Caffer in it at the moment, 28.2. Gunnar Jeanette in the Greaves Zytec Nissan 41 with a 28.3 and 28.5 for the number 32 Lotus with Thomas Holzer. And through the centre S's, through the Curva de Sol, goes Pierre Caffer, who's looking very laid back earlier on when I saw him down in the pit lane. Glances into his rear view mirror to see if anything's coming. Nothing seen. So he heads down the hill. Been spotted by Paul Dunk, who's emailed us or texted us at Specuteam and tweeted. He seems to think the pylons for the inner and outer part of the wheel arch extensions on the Toyota are not the same height. So let's have a look at that the next time we see the car.
It's just about to roll towards me when he decides to leave.
41 car Gunnar Jeanette in the pit lane from 2nd in P2. Nico Prost 2.5 seconds, or at least the 12 car 2.5 seconds away from the factory cars. As out goes Gunnar again to try and improve. And we've got the number 1 mechanics awaiting Ben Trellier coming in. Caffer 28.2 and 28.3, Manassian 27.6 and 27.7.
Tom Christensen stayed in that number 2 car on the pit apron, by the way. And
Yeah, he didn't move, did he?
No, he's still in the car, and it makes me think that they're not quite finished yet.
Well, here's the 1 car pulling in. Are they pitted 2 and 1?
Yes, they are, yes.
So the 1 car is further back down the pit lane and the number 2 car is closer to pit out, is that right?
That's correct.
That's interesting, isn't it? I suppose that's the championship leader at the head of the grid, at the head of the pit lane rather.
It will be, and let's not forget just how important it is for this pole position, because it brings points, and that's exactly what the number 1 car needs to keep the
championship fight alive.
Yeah.
Yes, unless there is the 2 car, Christensen, Duval and McNish can keep coming second, and it puts the pressure on the one car.
Tom's getting out of the car now.
Is he?
Tom Christensen out of the car.
That's 5.5 minutes left. So that would mean then that they're not going to fight for pole position. That's very interesting, because if I finish the thought, the number 1 car can still win the championship if it takes pole and wins the remaining races of the season. And it can afford for the number 2 car to come second in each of those cases. There's enough of a differential. If the Toyota gets in amongst it and pushes them further down so that the 2 car comes third, then that's clearly better. In the P2 category, 26 Orica from 49 Pecom Orica from 41 Zytek Nissan. So now we can start, I think, with all 3 of the works cars in the pit lane and looking to have called it a day. We can concentrate on the P2 battle, which is rather splendid.
Yeah, I think now the number 1 Audi, I'm just trying to read the gesticulations from the crew around the car, that the fuel hose has been hung up above the car now. I think the number 1 car's day is done as well, so they're happy with what they've got, I would imagine.
Tom Christensen deep in conversation with Wolfgang Ulrich and the engineering staff from McNish is there as well.
It's not quite over though, John. We've still got that number 8 Toyota that's still sat on the pit apron with the driver in the car. Now, wouldn't that be something if that car went out and just sneaked a little bit more average lap time?
On the pit straight, we have a replay of almost exact replay of an historical incident. Do you remember, what year was it, Joe? You'll remember this, when the advertising hoarding slipped down onto the track, and I think I've just seen a flag, quite a large flag, drifting down towards the...
We have debris on track, drivers right hand side. We have debris on track, drivers right hand side on the start finish.
And that was exactly what I did see. A black, white and red flag has dropped down just before the start-finish line, and it just gently fluttered down, and the red flag is out with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go, and the clock has been stopped. Do you remember that, Joe, when the advertising hoarding fell down here in an F1 race years ago?
I don't, John. I actually don't.
What?
Bizarre. I know.
Have I made that up then?
I don't know. Maybe you dreamt it.
And Marshall has... Now, this is not any kind of protest. This is just a flag that has drifted out. I don't recognise it as a country flag, whether it's a football flag or anything else. It has been attached to a balloon, and the balloon has come down. So this presumably was outside the circuit and has drifted over. The balloon is caught in the catch fencing, and the weighted flag drops down just behind the Greaves Motorsport car. I just saw that dropping down. 3 minutes and 3 seconds on the lap. Well, I think slightly premature congratulations for Treluet in the pit lane.
Unless they've been told that the session's been...
Not at the moment.
Red checker.
Not at the moment. It's red flag, and we've still got 3:03 on the clock, and the clock has been stopped. If anybody knows what year that was, when that incident happened. The exhaling from me, by the way, was a football result.
Go ahead, caller.
No, I'll tell you later. No. It wasn't good. Well, there's still... Is Andy Davison still in the 8 car? That will tell... Session will resume. Session will resume in 15 seconds. So is Andy Davison still in the 8 car?
As far as I'm aware, John, I've just made my way back up to Audi thinking I needed to have a chat to our pole sitters, but that's not the... there would be provisional pole sitters at this stage.
2,000, I'm being told by Trustwell, and Rotation up north says he thinks it was 2,000 as well when the ads fell off during F1. Is that me getting an F1 one over you, mate?
Yeah, it was not as significant, mate. It's trust you to remember the
bizarre
an advertising hoarding fall. I think Schumacher would have won it.
It was they were hanging out over the start-finish straight. I can't. Tim is about to tell me which car it hit down the line from London.
Now then, bit of insider information.
Hang on, Joe. Sorry, say again, Tim. Jean Alesi was driving the car that had hit. Right, Joe, information from the pit lane.
Just a little bit of insider information that Toyota is playing a few mind games here. The car's sat out on the pit apron, but they're calling it a day.
Alesi was in the Prost, says Samuel Stockwell. Excellent. I do like the collective. The Audi Sport cars are son driver, and the clock has started. The clock has started. We are running down the clock, and nobody's gone out, and there's a minute and 45 seconds left. And if nobody goes out now, they won't have time to do a lap. And nobody's going out, and nobody's going out. And now a very clever cameraman caught the balloon with the flag dropping down towards the circuit. This is nothing to do with the track. And that's come in, and it's all over now. No one can get around. So Ben Treluer in the number one with Andre Lotterer and Marcel Fessler will take pole from their teammates by 0.050 of a second. There's a minute and 6 seconds to go, but no one can improve. And that then will leave the grid with 1, 2, 8 and 12. In P2 it is the 26 Orica, the G-Drive racing car, which will take provisional pole from the PCOM car, which could have done with the points for pole position there as well. 49 PCOM car in second, and Plowman in third in the 35 Morgan. Fourth is the Zytek, the Greaves Zytek with the Nissan engine. So 2 Oricas, a Morgan and a Zytek on the front 2 rows of the P2 grid. Earlier on we saw Aston Martin number 98 claim the pole position in GTE AM, and the AF Corsa Ferrari, Matt Griffin bringing home Marco Ciocci's good work in the 81 AF Corsa Ferrari from earlier on in the session. And I think we've lost Joe, or are about to lose Joe, as the checkered flag comes out.
I'm still here.
We're getting a nasty clicking from you there for a moment.
I'm just going to try and get a word with our P2 pole sitter. I believe Louise is up at the Audi end, so listen up for her grabbing our pole man. Roman Rusinov there, just slapping hands from the crew. Everybody hugging. Job done. Premature end of the session.
And here's Louise, and we're going to lose Joe now anyway, because I think his batteries are going down, as Ben Treluer is with Louise Beckett down in the pit lane.
Benoit, you said to me earlier free practice didn't matter, but you've done it again here in qualifying. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very tough. I mean, Marcel did a really great job with new tires, but I was not very confident when I start the first few laps. I got traffic, quite a big understeer at the beginning, but at the end I could set up a reasonable lap to keep the pole position, so I'm very happy about that. The team did a really great job, and we still have to work for the race, because it will be very important to keep the tires in a good shape, and also for the consumption. So it's gonna be a tough race like it was in qualify, and but for the moment we are on the top, so it's good. It's looking good for tomorrow, but we have to keep concentrate and push a lot.
Well done, thanks.
Let's try Joe Bradley. We're running out of batteries, Joe, I'm afraid, and it's getting very crackly from you, but we'll give it a shot.
Well, I've been modulating me battery use into corners. Let's have a word with Roman. Roman, congratulations. A premature end of the session, but a good premature end for your team.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us, because we missed it in Le Mans by 3 minutes. So now it's important to work on that. I think we make a great job, thanks to the team, and looking forward for the race tomorrow.
And comfortable with its fastest laps?
You know, you have to ask to John.
All right. It was Mike and John Martin, yeah?
Yeah, but I think, if we could manage such a good lap time, so I think the car was good. But we will see tomorrow during the race. It depends on the temperature, how it will go on, but yeah, it should be okay for us.
Good, thank you. Well done, Roman. Well, I'm coasting out here.
Okay, mate, thank you. Joe Bradley down the Powered by Nissan pit lane. So our pole sitters are Audi number 1, the 26 G-Drive Racing Oreca Nissan number 26 in P2, the 98 Aston in GTE Pro, and the Ferrari of Jack Gerber, Matt Griffin and Marco Ciocci, the 81 AF Corsa car. And those will be the 4 pole sitters. Provisional at the moment, of course, because they have to go through post-qualifying tech. And that is it for today. Join us tomorrow for the build-up, for the Nissan countdowns to green, and then the whole of round 4 of the 2013 FIA World Endurance Championship is live from Interlagos, from the Autodromo Carlos Pache, with Joe and myself, Louise Becker, down in the pit lane. FIAWEC.com if you want to watch the pictures without sound. If you're bandwidth restricted, then radiolemans.com. And of course, if you're in Europe, particularly in the UK, you can have our voices over the pictures at Motors TV, which is channel 447 on the Sky satellite platform. Very interesting session. Very interesting to see how people were pushing in the very hot temperatures that we've had today, up to 30 degrees Celsius, and tomorrow they'll have to go through that again with the weather forecast even hotter than it's been today. I'm John Hindhaugh for the Responsible Adult, for our Nissan pit lane reporter Joe Bradley, and for Tim Grauer, executive producer, back in London. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you come back for round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. It's all live, free and globally available tomorrow. No time to explain though, the llama has got some homework to do.